Hi, and welcome to Small Dream. (2012) 01/20 4:37 p.m. I was on a motorcycle of some kind. Not a ninja bike. I was riding somewhere, and there was some girl who was also riding a motorcycle next to me. I don't know who she was or where we were going. It was nighttime. I was struggling to know when to shift. It seemed as though I maxed out the gears, but for some reason I was still going slow, though my speedometer read like 60 miles per hour. Then I realized I didn't have the throttle turned all the way up. When I did turn it up, though, I still didn't really go faster. I probably needed to shift back down into a lower gear first, then accelerate. It seemed like she didn't know how to shift either. Her bike was screaming, but she was just pacing me. It would rev really high, but she would just kind of stay next to me. So maybe she was in neutral or something. In a little while, it seemed like we sort of arrived where we were headed. There were some people standing around, maybe 7 or less. I pulled up into a little corner without a light, then I rode up onto the sidewalk. The people standing around there looked at me like I was a little bit crazy. When I realized what I was doing, I explained that sometimes I forgot that I wasn't on a bicycle and hopped off the sidewalk. Then in the road, I start showing how much like a BMX bike this motorcycle is. I start doing still standing 180s, easily leaping up into the air and spinning the motorcycle around a half rotation. Everybody was amazed, but it was easy for me. I was not struggling. Then I did this thing where I leaped the whole bike up into the air next to me, then came down hard on the front tire, doing a Pogo thing, and bouncing on that tire. It hit really hard when it came down, and I felt like something would break. Somebody also chimed in, saying to be careful slamming down like that, as I would break something. So then I kept doing it, but I set it down super soft each time. With my arms and legs on the bike, as it came down, I would pull against it, floating, keeping the tire just off the ground, then setting it down silently. The length of time that I kept it floating off the ground got longer each time I did it, as I was trying to show how long I could get it to float for. Next, it seems like I am with Sam and a few others in the medical buildings on Highland. We hear a super loud vehicle approaching. We decide it must be Gabe on his motorcycle. We might have thought it was my dad because he might have just rolled away. Anyways, Gabe drives up in this crazy-looking car. Sort of like a giant Ford Model T, stretched out in every direction. Each panel looks different, gray or red or corrugated looking. It has a giant engine exposed in the front with a massive blower on it. Gabe drives up, revving the engine like a madman. It is super loud, like echoing, almost painfully loud. He pulls up in a parking space and revs even harder. Then he gets out. Suddenly we hear police approaching. Gabe hides out until he thinks the time is right, and he runs. I am in front of him looking back at him. I see 4 holes appear in his chest, along with hearing 4 shots. They just shot Gabe for having a loud car? I don't recall running up to him. I might have run away. I was scared they might shoot me, I guess. Anyways, ends up, later on, I am told he was actually just tasered, by 7 tasers at the same time. I remember being in some sort of small off-white room with him. He seemed to be washing his face in a sink or something. I said to him, "Well, I guess you can't say you haven't been stun-gunned before." Next, it seems like we were driving in some car. I think Gabe and Sam were with me. It was like a family car. I can't list the other occupants, but they were probably all family. We arrived at some big house. The driveway had about 4 to 6 cars in it already, 2 of which were this identical, gross-looking, pale greenish-blue color. We get out and walk to the front door. Lots and lots of people here. I would guess in the hundreds. As we walk to the door, I am greeted by lots of people, mostly about 50-year-old men. I'm being introduced to them. None of them look familiar, though I would swear I was introduced to a few of them more than once. 2012 01/21 1:55 a.m. I don't recall why I stopped typing when I did. My dream was not over. Weird. Maybe I got distracted by something. I don't remember much else now. I seem to remember being inside with Gabe. Lots of staircases with fancy handrails, lots of people. I also seem to remember a big cake. Nothing about the building inside felt like it had to do with Sam, so maybe the party wasn't for Sam. I don't know. I can't remember anything else. I had a sex dream last night. A random girl that I don't know is on her knees in front of me. I am spreading her butthole open. The skin around it is normal white skin, perhaps a few freckle-like spots around it. The bordering skin is not wrinkly like most butthole skin. It is smooth, like the skin on someone's arm. I look over my left shoulder to another woman standing about 15 feet away. I walk over and get her. I bring her back over and ask her if she wants to. I'm not sure if I was asking her to have a threesome or maybe to lick the other girl's butthole. I can't be sure. Sorry.